Hello everybody, it's The Worm, and I'm back with some more Raging Loop. Last time was quite something. We got the plan that we had spoken of, and it turned out that the plan was for the god/Haru to sacrifice herself. Now, I still haven't been able to come to a conclusion on, this sort of distinction between Haru and the god. And I think I'm just going to have to wait to see what else we get here. But clearly it's not, at least it doesn't seem obvious to me at this point. Of course, due to this plan, Araki has been accepted as the snake. And well, he got an apology, essentially, from Rikako and Mamiya, and was allowed to, recover. And this led to the obvious outcome that Haruaki has killed Mamiya. And now we are presumably the final stages of whatever this route is. All that's left is Haruaki, Rikako, Mochi, and Mako. And the thing is, Mochi and Mako are both somewhat, well, they're a bit unpredictable to me. I don't know how they're going to be reacting. Mochi himself made a statement that seemed to indicate he absolutely is not only aware that Haru is making a sacrifice, but that Haruaki is the wolf still, and he knows what was going to happen. As for Rikako, I have a very terrible feeling that this is going to be quite the trying episode, considering at first she seemed to accept that Haruaki had betrayed them, but then, after Haru's sacrifice, went out of her way to advocate for Haruaki, and now, I'm just waiting to see if she realizes that Haruaki has betrayed her again. And if so, then this is going to be pretty difficult to go through, but we have to, so let's get ourselves ready and start this thing. Let's do this. 5 a.m. I had no idea if I was just used to this or if Uematsu's treatment was just that good, but I woke up feeling decidedly neutral. No drowsiness, fatigue, not even the pleasant feeling you got when you stretched to shake off the weight of sleep. We all arrived at the plaza at the same time. Haruaki Fusaishi, Rikako Uematsu, Mako, and Chikamochi Kamoshida. Strangely enough, I didn't think this was a coincidence. I'd felt like we'd agreed to gather here at the same time, and everyone noticed that someone was no longer with us.
Mamiya Hisako-sama ga nakunatta. 宴はまだ終わっていませんでした。すなわち狼はまだこの中に残っております。
久幸さん、何がどうしたの？
Here's the thing. Rikako has to understand what this means, or is going to very soon. Mako is the badger. Mochi was the monkey. So, something has to give here. I'm thinking Rikako, she's either gonna think, well, because if she thinks Mochi is the wolf, she'll have to doubt Hashimoto. And the question is, what reason would he have to confirm Mochi's story that he's a monkey? If she chooses Mako, then, I guess she could do that, because she's never been checked. It's been assumed she's been the Badger, but maybe she could think that wasn't a sure thing, or something like that. And the other terrible choice would be if it's Haruaki. That's the big question. Will she be willing to entertain the thought she's been betrayed again? That's my big question.
メイコちゃん、僕はね、
Okay.
狼だったんだ。
He's just going at it right away. So 2v2. He's won. He's won. Because now it's a deadlock in the votes, as long as he can convince Mako. But then if they don't, hang anyone, he can just kill again during the night. So it's over, basically.
本当？
本当だよ。
I guess, you could say he ripped it off quickly like a band-aid, which is what you'd want to do, but this has to really suck for Rikako. The fact that he just said it so casually, too.
本当の本当？
本当の本当の本当の本当さ。今僕は休みずに来て一番正直者だよ。
The next moment, Mako clung to me.
ごめんね。ずっと黙ってて。
怖かったの。怖かったんだから。久幸さんがユミなんとかって。
ごめんね。
I patted her back and had her hide behind me. 2 votes. A real perfect split.
私もまた情に流されたのかもしれません。
Yeah, I guess so.
非情であるべき読み意味の宴で冥子のあどけなさに夫妻子様の人当たりの良さにそして牧島春様の狂言にそうかもしれないと知りながらまんまと騙されました。
Did you see, I think this is a kind of cool parallel you can draw here. The way she's describing this, letting her emotions decide what she wants to believe. She's describing the same thing she said last episode. Remember, when she was going to bat for Haruaki, claiming, basically justifying his decision as a real snake. let me back up a bit. So the story that Haru planned to make by her sacrifice was that Haruaki is the real snake, covered for her because he fell in love with her. And so what she's describing here is that, essentially. It's that Haruaki, as the real snake, quote-unquote, allowed his emotions to get the better of himself and made a terrible decision, that being to cover for a wolf instead of telling everyone that she was a wolf. And so I think that's a good, it was her empathy that led her to draw that conclusion. And yeah, this really stings.
私どもの人のわけです。もはやこれまで 私は後の間神内様に祈って過ごしくくられろという時はお呼びください。さようなら。
Having said all she had to, she left, not turning around once. Well, I guess you could say she handled that gracefully. Honestly, I think that I'd kind of been psyching myself out. Like I was dreading the reaction so much that the fact that it was so casual and it's gone by so quick, I'm a bit surprised, you know? Like it wasn't a whole thing where she got emotional and said, "How could you betray me?" or cried or anything like that. No, she just took it. And I guess I should have expected that out of Rikako. I don't know. I guess I was more thinking how I would, you know, imagining myself if I were betrayed or doing a betrayal. Just, yeah. But no, it just happened.
ああ、りっちゃんも諦めちゃった。
And you haven't?
君は諦めないのかい、もっち。
宴の勝ち負けとかは初めっからどうでもいいんだ、ぶっちゃけ。
Yeah.
そうでなきゃ野里家の嫡男様を未だにやってるしさ。
ああ、もっともだ。
ハッサンさ、死んでよ。
嫌だね。
メイコちゃんさ、ハッサン、明日には君を殺しちゃうぞ。本当？
殺さないよ。
ねえ、悪い人信じない。そっかそっかそっか。なんでハルちゃんを死なせたのさ。僕さ、ハルちゃんのこと最後まで守ってくれるんなら別に宴で殺されてもいいって思ってたんだ。ハルちゃんがさ、面倒な人間全部ぶっ壊してここを逃げてくって、何それ、超かっこいいじゃん。それが死に目に見られればいいかなって僕超楽しみにしてたんだよ。僕の純情返してよ。ハッサンもさ、知ってたんだろ、ハルちゃんの仮病のこと。
ああ。
これはね、僕らだけの秘密だ。多分宴とは全然関係ない話だから気にしないで寝るといい。
I knew it. That was... God was something she'd created.
あの格好の彼女は君も知ってるんだろ
うん。だって小学校の時に3人で一緒に作ったもん、あの格好。大きくなったんだから作り直せばいいのにさ。エッチすぎるぞ。
言えてる。
I'd expected something like that.
いいんだ。
If she'd come... Oh, sorry. If she'd come back to her senses at least once back then, she'd have never tolerated her apparel.
我は8年前くくられ黄泉に戻されるところを霧に迷いし、この娘の器に落ち戻ることができたのじゃ。
Okay. So will we get any explanations of the actual sort of supernatural elements that we did see? Like, what's that voice about? You know? It wasn't just, mean, how am I to interpret that? I mean, because obviously, if it had just been Haru's voice the whole time, I think I would have been a lot less willing to accept, a god or deity, a supernatural deity was involved here. But, there was this voice change, and there's this, the supposed supernatural things that we saw, like all those, the bringers of corruption, which were a bunch of wild dogs. I mean, was that a real scene that we saw, or what? How do I go back and interpret that? Or what about the thing where, what was it, in the bad end, she kissed the back of our neck? Was it a kiss, or something like that? And we were supposedly healed? I mean, it certainly looked like it, because in the morning afterward, Haruaki was up walking around, and so was she. And we saw in this route here, when that didn't happen, Haruaki was, he was still wounded. He could barely speak. He had to be dragged everywhere. So what was that? I mean, we've already seen an example of, I guess you could say, healing power with Rikako. Remember, she was able to supposedly cure us of the poison, the thing that, and that was, it was supposed to be a done deal. We were going to die, and then she was able to heal us somehow. Because if we're looking at, I suppose, I think I was going to talk about this at some point. I was just waiting for a moment. I mean, let's say, okay, this god is just another personality or something. You could say she wandered, this is what, 8 years ago? She wandered back into the village during a previous feast. And this is the feast, supposedly, where her parents died. Like, how incredibly traumatic and horrible must that have been? And then I guess you're saying, okay, as a coping mechanism, she's taken the traditions and all the stuff she's heard as a kid regarding Yasumizu, and she's formed this new personality that is able to act powerful or sort of above it all, I guess you could say. Something like that. I mean, I could understand that reasoning, but it explains, again, if this is the full story here, I guess it explains that, as in why there's another personality, but it doesn't really explain some of the other supernatural stuff. Here's another example. She seemed to be aware of our looping. Now, was she taking it as BS, or is she so perceptive that she was actually able to understand and not only understand the looping, but also accept it? But I guess if we take it as this personality, she uses it to maintain sanity, I guess, or something like that. And I guess in order to reinforce that, she continues to, dress up in those, the sutra-covered cloth. And even during the feast, like we saw in the very first route, when she appeared in the doorway we were there with Chiemi, she would take the role of, this godly figure or something like that. Even in this crazy situation. If God was actually the primary personality. I don't know. I'm trying to, maybe I don't have the full story yet, and the game's gonna explain it to me right now, how all the nuances of what I'm trying to understand. So let's keep going for a bit. If God was actually the primary personality, It'd have never taken my side back then. She'd have never played along with Haru-chan's desire to save me by sacrificing herself. Basically, she could always switch between God and Haru Makishima. All the strange powers displayed by Haru Makishima were either powers she'd already had, or just products of her imagination. Okay? Well, again, considering that there are people in Yasumizu that we've seen... Look, I'm at the moment where I'm accepting supernatural things do exist here. The most basic one here is the looping at all. Without the looping, none of this sort of makes sense right now. But then we've also had the Rikako's healing powers. There's some weird stuff happening with Chiemi. I couldn't tell you exactly what it is. And we've seen all these examples by Haru Makishima, what she's done. So... I mean, okay, so we have 3 examples. I'm just listing them out for my purpose. There's controlling the dogs, the healing power, the telepathy. I suppose telepathy could just be imagination. It could just be her being perceptive and Haruaki playing into it. I mean, what are the dogs? I mean, did we just hallucinate that, or what's the explanation for that? Healing powers seems like the most clear cut of it being an actual supernatural thing that occurred. Because of what happened during that one bad end. Okay. A fabrication. Yeah, okay. The mind reading thing was just a product of her delusions. It just happened that she'd gotten things right. Yeah. Okay. That was the only possibility.
はるちゃんはハッサンに乗り換えた。やっすんがまだ知恵姉のこと好きだって知ってからハッサンに乗り換えた。
適当なことを言うな。
僕ははるちゃんのそばにずっといた。適当じゃない。はるちゃんはそうだ。
他人の心に興味のない君がか？
ブー、ハッサンの意地悪。ま、そうだな。はるちゃんはたまたま狼になって最初は嫌いだったハッサンを好きだったか、あるいはもっと別の特別な心か、僕には分からんけどそういうのになったのかもね。
He truly had a talent for finding the truth without comprehending it.
じゃあさ、なおさらはるちゃんの落とし前、ハッサンはどうつけるの？
何も。
へえ、すっげえ。
むしろ君がはっきりしたらどうだ？
何をさ？
君がハルちゃんに投票しなければハルちゃんが死ななかった可能性はゼロじゃなかったのに。それでも君はハルちゃんに投票した。他人を評価するときは大体は自分の気持ちの裏返しになるもんさ。自分に乗り換えてくれなかったハルちゃんに対する怒りから彼女を殺したかったんじゃないのか？
ああ、なるほど。そういうのも成立するのか。ハッサンさ、仮にだよ、僕らのハルちゃんじゃなくなるなら僕が壊しちゃおうって思ったら、それってやっぱ帰郷の振る舞い？
ごくありふれた普通の感情だろう。みんなはそれを嫉妬って呼ぶ。
そっか、僕嫉妬してたんだ。
知らないけどな、君の心までは。
お話難しい。
大人ってのはな、メイコ、 難しいことでも悪いことでも平気な顔してやんなきゃなんないのさ。
大人大変。
適当言われてかわいそうだよ、メイコちゃん。
I was telling the truth, though.
じゃあどうする？宴する？
絶対負けるんだよね、これ。
メイコちゃん、あの人を倒そっか。うん。というわけでイエスだ、モッチー。
ハッサンさ、賭けとかしない？
どんな賭けだい？
じゃんけんで負けた方が死ぬ。
スーパーシンプルだな。
いいじゃん。
乗った。
Hmm.
せーの。
じゃんけん。
He put up his thumb and stuck out his index finger, creating a finger gun, the unbeatable hand. I, on the other hand, took out Chiami's shotgun from my sleeve.
そりゃ勝てないな。
承認ありがと
Mochi. Sketchy bets were my thing. Not even a genius like you could win against an adult villain.
う。ごめんね、メイコちゃん。びっくりした？
So, did he have it the whole time and we just weren't told that? Okay. But, so does that counts as your kill for the... I mean, it's during the day, isn't it? Isn't that a no-no? I was gonna say, doesn't that kill count? I guess, you know, if we're talking about a full day as in a day and a night, you know, wolves get to kill one. I mean, I would assume the rules as we understand it is you're supposed to only get one kill and you kill at night. You know, that's the whole... They put on the costume, that whole thing. But he just did it during the day. So, not worried about corruption anymore, I guess. Okay.
悪い人やっつけた。
Whoa, man. Just what kind of upbringing did she have?
お姉ちゃんもするの？
今日はしないよ。
明日は？
するよ。
Okay, so he does care about the rules.
メイコは？
The necessity to kill Mako. That case seemed likely. God had said that there were 3 gods. One was Great Lord Shinai. One was the old god who had the unfavorable name, Mujina, Badger, forced upon it. And the last one was my enemy. If God lived within a man, then perhaps, if I killed Mako, who hadn't died once, I could escape this endless misty hell for all I knew. But I didn't want to kill her. That'd be crossing a line even for me. Really, that's a crossing. I mean, true, that's never been done. Certainly not by you. I mean, in the past, he has promised to take her away from here, so maybe that's still a lingering thought for him. Yeah. Subconsciously or not, I'd set a line for myself, and I didn't want anyone else to change it.
ここへ来て。
Hello. Hmm?
まだ見当違いをされるか？悪党殿。
Huh? I tried to turn around, but I couldn't. The thing behind me was so scary, I couldn't turn around.
何度申せばお気づきになるよ。
Sorry. Sorry, had... Oh, okay, I'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, hang on.
神とは悪魔たちの悪いものですぞ。星々の娘と通じて共倒れになるまで神がするはずありますまい。
神とは何なんだ。
人には決して殺せぬものよ。
I turned around.
目
It was Mako. Same as always. I couldn't believe that she was just laughing out loud.
さゆきさん、顔色悪い。
ああ、そうかもな。
大丈夫？
うん。水でも飲んでこようかな。
メイクおトイレ。
Okay, the reason why I laughed there was because... Look, I'll just say it. If we're going for mundane versus supernatural, up until this point, I had been leaning toward the supernatural. I mean, obviously. Just think of all the stuff I'd just been talking about this episode. And so, having that happen, that scene right there, just sort of tickled me, because it was like I was... It felt like Haruaki was getting his comeuppance there. Like he was... It's like, you're trying... Like, yeah, you think you're going to be able to explain all this with mundane things like personality disorders, imagination, delusion, visions, dreams, hallucinations. You think you're going to explain all this with just that? No. No, you're not. And just having that sort of... having that happen just now was, well, it felt kind of good. Weirdly enough. I know that should kind of actually be a horrifying moment, right? But for some reason, that tickled me. Sorry. Okay, let's keep going a bit longer. The dining hall felt like it had been abandoned 10 years ago. Even so, water was still running. I wasn't all that thirsty, but it could make me feel better, so I cupped some water in my palms. Okay, now that's really creepy. Huh? I jumped back, getting water all around me. Just now, on the surface of the water in my hands, there was a mirror above the sink. I looked right at it.
神からは逃れられませぬぞ。どうせなら我のもとに下ってみられぬか。十里四方のケチな領地じゃが退屈はさせませぬぞ。好きに殺し、好きに欺き、好きに犯し、山は再び聖域になりましょう。手頃な娘を捕らえたらば貴様のお子をはらみたいもの。
僕に何をした。
わからぬならおとなしゅう。神の餌食になりません。どうやら頃合いか。悪党殿、面白き世になりますぞ。悪がいつまで持つのやら。 愉快が過ぎて仕方なし。房雪さん。
I shook my head, chasing away the thing, the delusion clinging to my head.
どうしたの？
Oops, sorry. Her voice was shaking. Did she see a spider or something? I mean, if you still want to go with mundane, you could say, you know, okay, Haru went crazy, and now he's going crazy, considering the whole looping stuff. You could sort of see it as him having delusions still. But I don't want to see it that way. I followed her outside. Oh my goodness. This is the first quintuple key choice here. And I don't think we have any of them. Okay. Lose all words. I was shocked. There was no better word for it. The first shock was caused by the fact that the mist had cleared. After all, the Feast of the Yomi Purge wasn't over yet. The next thing to surprise me was the fact that the sun had just recently come up, but the night had returned. It was dark, but it was a strange kind of darkness. I looked around for the sun, and it took me about 5 seconds to realize that it was the thing in the sky. A loop in the eastern sky. A total solar eclipse? No way. If there was such a celestial event today, I'd have heard about it on TV before Golden Week. That wasn't just an eclipse. It probably had something to do with the unnatural, unreasonable, incomprehensible phenomenon happening before me. Phenomenon? That was too small a word to describe it. Most of my surprise was about the monster. I think the word monster kind of undersells it a bit, Haruaki. It spanned mountains. It pierced the clouds. It carved valleys with each step. It leveled forests. I lacked the words to describe the scale of it. It dwarfed even the thing in tokusatsu shows or mecha anime. After all, it was still far away. It was beyond the mountain, beyond the cliff, beyond Saranaga. It was walking. Its destination was the golden, no, unpleasantly pale ring that used to be the sun. Even so, I looked up at it. It was thousands of meters tall. It was a monster that had legs the size of mountains, and even the term gigantic seemed to fall short. Even so, all I could do was look up. What the hell was with this ending? I'd played a murder game in a village inhabited by werewolves and survived, only to be greeted by this giant monster? What the hell? Who could predict this turn of events? Who would sign off on this plot twist? Naturally, I quickly understood that it was a monster that'd bring mythical levels of despair and destruction. Mako was clinging to my leg. I brought her closer to me. Both of us were shaking. Fear. This was nothing but primal fear. Death was nothing in comparison. The fear we felt surpassed mundane concepts like death. This was a fear of the world coming to an end. Once I realized that, I knew that humans, a part of the world, could do nothing against it.
やっちまったな、おい。
Mr. Sheep! You're here. You're talking to me. And it's not an ending. Huh? What? Suddenly I lost all sense of reality.
おい、お前。
And there was even some fancy looking thing in front of me. It was a large plush sheep. It was cute. It talked. But its voice wasn't cute.
聞いてんのか？おい。
Are you the lady from the beginning? Or no?
はい。
やっちまったなって言ってんだ。
あれですか？
I looked again, and strangely enough, the scene had lost all color. The monster was still there, still walking slowly, covering kilometers with each step. But again, it didn't feel real anymore, and the fear was gone too. I looked next to me. Mako was still frozen in fear. Again, it didn't feel real. In fact, my clothes, hands, everything around me didn't feel real. This sensation was kind of familiar. Oh, right. It was what I felt every time before dying. I'd felt this whenever my memories were engulfed in mist before I looped. And I felt that this sheep was familiar too.
ああ、まあ、お前に言うのも酷なのは分かってんだがな。あいつが目覚めたことで、この国は終わりだ。
あの、
あ？
Oh, dialogue.
あなた、誰ですか？
それは今、どうでもいいだろう。
いや、無理でしょう。というか、羊が喋っている。
状況分かってんのか？この国が滅びるっつってんだぞ今。
化け物が出てくるのと羊が喋るんじゃ受け入れやすさが段違いですよ。
Really? Okay.
ああ、めんどくせえ野郎だな。いいか、ここら一帯で奇妙なことが起きてんのは分かってた。現実の一部が夢の中に切り取られてやがったんだ。
Huh.
俺はそういう話の専門家だ。だからここに来たはいいが、夢の主に見つからねえように身を隠すだけで精一杯だ。
The dreamer? Oh my goodness.
夢の中に直接干渉はできねえ。だが誰か一人の人間に力を貸すくらいはできる。
Are we doing it was all a dream? Is that what we're doing?
それがてめえだ。ところがてめえはしくじった。
なるほど。いや、とりあえずいろいろすっ飛ばしてコッシーは理解しましたが、なんだそれは。
理解できたのか？すげえな。つうか、乗りツッコミする余裕があるとか、お前死にすぎて狂ったんじゃねえのか？
あなたが死に戻りの原因か。
Yeah, I mean that's been my assumption.
そりゃ違う。
Oh.
死んで巻き戻るのは夢のせいだ。
夢のせい？
そうだ。俺はてめえが記憶を持っていけるように手伝ってやってるんだよ。
Oh, well, that's very helpful. Thank you. Oh, so that's how it was.
まずい。もう時間がない。おいてめえ。とりあえず続きは戻った後で考えろ。
死ねってことかよ。ダメだ。まだ聞きたいことが腐るほどある。
俺はほとんど何にも知らねえ。潜入後すぐ身動き取れなくなったからな。そこのガキが誰かも知らねえよ。てめえらが何をやってて、なんでお前がガンガン死にまくってんのかも知らねえ。そこはてめえが何とかするところだ。
That was so unreasonable. But, so that was how it was.
富士吉一帯の時間が巻き戻っている。基本、あなたはそれしか知らない。
As part of a dream, apparently.
あなたは富士吉村の奇怪な事件や現象を知らない。しかし、巻き戻り現象の原因はここにあることはわかる。だから僕に前回の記憶を与え、巻き戻り現象の原因を探るように仕向けた。ところが、いきなり巻き戻りが止んだ。僕は確信に至らず、化け物まで出た。異変は異変自身が 望む結末を迎えた。つまりこの国の終わり。
理解力柔軟すぎんだろ。てめえの脳みそはあんころ餅か何かか。
Now that was uncalled for.
最初のうちは夢はずっと循環していた。しかし異分子が取り込まれ、夢は奇妙に変容し始めた。てめえが来てからはもうぐちゃぐちゃで、結果がこれだ。
僕が動いたせいで夢が変わった？
How did he get in the dream? Did this mean the fact that I used the looping to try out various options and... Excuse me, did this thing mean the fact that I'd used the looping to try out various options and saw a bunch of different timelines?
てめえ、中でどんなろくでもねえことしやがったんだ？
Yeah, there was some of that. I couldn't deny that. It really was fucked up, this loop. But, hold on. Victor is a Wolf brought about a giant monster that destroyed the country? That made next to no sense. That couldn't be it. I was missing something.
ここまでだ。時間切れだ。荒っぽくなるぞ。ああ、食いしばれ。
どうする気なんです？もう巻き戻りは終わってるんでしょ？
言っただろうが、専門家だってよ。
どういうことだ？
Is the sheep a specialist like Haruaki was pretending to be?
巻き戻りが起きてい
No,
たとこ
okay.
ろまで、
Sorry.
俺の力で巻き戻す。
I can use my loop power to loop back to when the loop was still happening. Oh, we are in loopception right now. We're looping within loops now. Huh?
そんなバカなことが。
できる。ただ、これ一回きりだ。ここまで大きな介入があれば、向こうは絶対異変に気づく。
Oh my goodness. Okay.
一度はバグだと思うかもしれんが、二度目はないぞ。絶対に他の夢使いの介入を疑うはずだ。そうなったら本当に終わりだ。俺は腕前じゃ奴より上だが、単純な力じゃ敵の方が億倍強い。俺も夢に取り込まれて終わりだ。そうなりゃてめえを助けることもできなくなる。
相手の思い通りになる。
そういうこった。じゃあいいな。ここには絶対に戻ってくんな。ここ以外で解決策を探せ。
Gotcha. Fair enough. Accepted. Understood. Basically, I had to prevent this outcome. Gather the info from the loops, arrive at the truth, and do something about the dreamer that created the loop and called this monster, huh? What the hell? Wasn't this a story about taking care of some werewolves? What happened to that?
よーし、来た来た。それじゃあ元気に死んでこい。
いや、ちょっと。
羊が100万匹。
Seriously? And so, crushed under the weight of 1,000,000 sheep, I died. Wow. Okay. There's no way I'm gonna begin any kind of analysis of what we just saw. I'm at my limit. I'm gonna call it here. And next time, we're gonna begin with an extra long opening where I try to put some pieces together, I think. I think that's what we're gonna do. Because I just have to, just in order to understand what in the world just happened. Raging loop. Raising group. Okay. Let's see this at least. Thanks to the sacrifice of Kaoru-san and Haru-chan, I won as a wolf, or so I should have. But then a series of incomprehensible events occurred, such as the resurrection of God and the demise of Japan due to the sudden appearance of a giant monster. Just then, a mysterious sheep arrived, revealed that it had given me my loop memories, and said it was trying to stop the dream. To prevent this horrible outcome, it returned me to the loop once again. Where are the keys I need to reach the truth? Ending number 3. You know what? We're going to save this for next time, too. I need to stop. No, go back. Okay, yeah, I need to think about this, so, but gotta say that really threw me for a loop, yes. So next time we're going to talk about all of that and color me horrified and impressed and excited all in one huge bag of emotions I'm feeling right now. Okay, I'm going to call it here. I've been the Worm. This has been Raging Loop, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.